Well, Christy, why don't we just go right into you giving a demo in the back garden
let's do it.
in our flower bed on how to plant some bulbs so we can enjoy those next spring.
All right, come meet us in the garden.
All right, Christy, what do we got back here? Look at this fall garden
Oh my
we
gosh,
got planted.
it's gorgeous. So
Yeah.
we've already got tons of pretty color in here.
Yeah.
Lots of texture and height. So we're just gonna enhance the garden with some bulbs.
Yeah.
You know, that way, so we have those happy surprises come spring.
Great.
So as you see, we've got some spacing in between here. The bulbs are quite small. We grabbed a crocus variety, which is going to pop up in the late winter to early spring. So this one you'll see first.
So you really don't have a whole lot of digging to do.
No.
You're just going to be going off of plant depth. So this is something you can do in an already planted flower bed, just in between stuff.
You're just going to want to put the bulb down in a little bit of the soil so that it has time to establish its roots and then pop back through.
Awesome.
And then our daffodils will pop up next. We went with the classic bright yellow and then some really pretty red tulips. So
awesome.
Let's get to digging.
Okay.
So I think we'll just put a few crocuses up front. You can use your hands as well.
Okay. So I'm gonna.
Yeah.
What is your planting depth on your
So
crocus?
Just a couple inches down, it says. About 4 inches. Sorry, 2 inches down, and it's going to be about 4 inches tall.
Okay. So I can just make a couple little spots right here.
Thank you, Josiah.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, and each of these comes with multiple bulbs. So
okay.
Look at those babies. Here you go.
Awesome. So when planting your bulb, you really want, there's this little patch where you can, kind of like an onion, looks like a bottom of an onion right there. You can see the point. Your point you usually want pointed up. And then, so your point goes up, or else you're going to have a funny looking plant come springtime because it's going to be a little stunted. And what's your planting spacing on this? Are you just going a couple inches apart from each other?
Yeah, this says about 4 inches apart on the spacing. That just gives it room to establish its roots.
So crocus, these are one of the first ones that come up in this spring.
Yeah, it says that they'll pop up in early winter. And typically when I see them in my parents' yard out in Bella Vista, it's my first reminder that spring is on its way.
Oh, that's awesome. It's kind of like daffodils for me. When you're driving through the countryside and you see all these daffodils on the side of the road, it really lets you know, kind of like forsythia too, you know?
Oh, yes.
That bright yellow lets you know it's on its way. You don't have to wear overalls too much longer.
And another great thing about bulbs is they're going to come back year after year.
Oh, that's awesome.
So something that you're going to make the investment now and get to enjoy for years to come. It's also an activity I love to do with my kids because they also like to see the surprise that comes in spring.
And it's also teaching them patience. You know, you planted it a season ago in a different environment and weather pattern, and then you get to enjoy it in the spring.
All right, so this is an exciting little activity and it's fun for everyone.
Okay, so we're gonna get these daffodils planted in these tulips.
Yeah.
So on your packaging, you definitely wanna make sure that you're going the same depth. If you're putting in a flower bed, you can go by their spacing. Actually on container gardening, we actually do spacing a little bit differently, so we'll be able to get into that because we pretty much throw spacing out the window when it comes to bulb container gardening.
Yes.
So, okay.
And one thing I noticed right away about our daffodils is that these are gonna go 6 inches into the ground, kind of obviously because it's a larger bulb, so you're gonna need to dig down a little bit more. For your daffodils, they're also gonna grow taller.
Yep, and this is also 6 inches, and I'll just show this, I'll bring this up to the camera here.
Yeah.
This is the top of your bulb, kind of like an onion. That's where it's going to be sprouting out. You want to make sure, especially on tulips and daffodils, that you're not accidentally planting them upside down. It can happen. Some of your bulbs look like this on both sides, depending on what you're getting. There's some bulbs that sometimes it's hard to tell, but making sure that you have your point sticking up and where your roots would be sticking down, obviously. So that way you don't have some stunted ones that have to grow funny. You'll have some problems with that.
I love it, and this is a new item that the guys actually were able to find for us at the trade show, so that's pretty fun that we're now going to have.
Yeah, I picked these out.
Yeah, hand selected, and so exciting. And you get a good value for it because you get multiple flowers in the packaging.
So bulbs, you definitely want to get these planted in the fall. If you plant these in this, there are spring bulbs to plant in the spring, different lilies and stuff like that. But for fall variety bulbs, at any of your garden centers, they'll be able to help you figure out what bulbs to plant right now. And also on timing, we are planting these a little bit earlier, but typically between September and November, that's your ideal time to get your bulbs planted. Yeah, so
we planted
you get
some.
a little bit later into that, and you're not guaranteed that it'll flower correctly.
Right.
So, yeah.
So, fun color to come.
All right.